Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the May Town Hall. We're excited that you all are here and joining us to learn more about gravel, what our team has been working on over the last month, and some other behind the scenes initiatives, programs, things like that. So we'll give it a couple of minutes for everybody to get logged in, but we're glad you're here. All right, everybody should be registered. You've made it this far, but if you are not registered and want to be able to submit questions in our Q&A, you can scan that QR code up on your screen. It'll get you to register and you'll be able to then engage in the Q&A. Otherwise, you are welcome to sit on and listen in, but you won't be able to get the Q&A. You can also forward that link to anybody you want to have join. And you can also find it on our Facebook page and on our website. You can also, forward that to folks. We will have a recording of this presentation available sometime in the next 24 hours. So if you have to jump off, or same thing, if you want to share it with someone who didn't make it tonight, you'll be able to do that as well. Also, if you don't get our monthly RAGBRAI newsletters, it'd be great to sign up. You get lots of information from RAGBRAI, deadlines, behind the scenes info, when information is released, merchandise, different things like that. So if you aren't getting our newsletter, we highly recommend it. And you can once again sign up on our website or by scanning that QR code there, and get signed up. All right, so our team, if you don't know us, there's a small but mighty team. We've got Ann Laurie, our cycling director, with us tonight, Matt Fippen, our ride director, Hayden Meister, our event operations manager, Corey Much, who is our graphic designer. He is not with us tonight, but he'll be with us in spirit. We have Erica Detterman, registration and merchandise manager, and Andrea Parrott, AP, our marketing manager and Just Go Bike podcast host. And I'm Laura Rice, another of the event operations managers here at RAGBRAI. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Matt to give a run through all of, I guess, what Matt's been doing the last couple of months with gravel.
Perfect. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. We are now set to unveil gravel. So each year we create the official route that the majority of the riders will be riding across the state of Iowa. Once that's finalized, we then wait for Mother Nature to kind of move out and take the snow with her so we can actually go out and experience some of the best gravel roads in Iowa. We're looking at, taking you on spots that are less traveled, have cool things to look at, and working with the counties and the DOT, we basically bring them to you. So each day we'll have two route options. There will be the paved version and the optional, and I'll say it again so you guys hear this, the optional gravel route that will be en route for you this year. So what we'll do is the route kind of is supported by us. Unless you leave and take gravel, then you lose a lot of that support, because a lot of those riders that are riding gravel know how to handle it, come prepared. So you will see a motorcycle kind of hovering back and forth on gravel, but our SAG services and State Patrol turn by turn will not be on those routes. We will mark them just like we do the paved route. You'll see the blue arrow signs that say gravel all over them, so you'll know that you're on the right route. And just like the paved version, in June, after our pre-ride, we will share these routes out with you guys. So let's dive in and hit day one. This is day one. Right now, we are sitting at 77.6 miles and 1,797 feet of climb. As you can see, our first route or sector will take place after May City. We will punch out the backside of May City and hit a level B road. For those that don't know what a level B road is, it's basically a dirt road that is not maintained on a regular basis. So if this day is a day where we have rain, this section might be closed off because it will be a muddy mess if we do get a lot of rain. So obviously, if that's the case, we'll make sure we have it shut down. You'll know that in May City before you leave. This is the only big level B section that we'll have for the course of the week. 6.7 miles, 106 feet of climb, and the max grade in this section is 1.5%. So a pretty easy stretch. This is a great section if you're brand new to gravel. You want to kind of experience a level B and gravel road in Iowa. We'll kind of give you both of those. Our second sector will come right before we head in. Yep, go back. Right before we go into Milford. It's a 5.8 mile section, 230 feet of climb. And we do have a section in here. We'll have a max grade of almost 10%. So there is a pretty big hill we will climb and descend as we get closer to the Milford area. We'll be around the Little Sioux River and Horseshoe Bend Wildlife Area. So 2 easy sections on this first day. Day 2, as you guys know, we're leaving and going into Minnesota for a little bit. We want you to experience Minnesota gravel. So there'll be a 3.1 section of gravel as we get into Minnesota. Starts about 14 miles into the day. Minnesota gravel is a different color. It's more of a reddish tint to it. But like I said, 3.1 miles, 115 feet of climb, and a max grade of 2.5%. When you punch out, you'll be almost to our park where the day will be kind of the meeting spot. Day 3. Day 3 is 74.1 miles, 1,323 feet of climb, and this section will start right outside of Crystal Lake. So we'll leave that community. It's roughly about 65.2 miles into the day. It's a 4.5 mile section with a max grade of 2.6% and 105 feet of climb. Day 4. Day 4 section will start right out of Forest City for the most part. This day is 72.1 miles, 1,544 feet of climb, 7.6 miles out of Forest City. You'll have your first gravel section. It is a longer section, so it's 7.9 miles, 215 feet of climb, a max grade of 3.4%, and we're around the Winnebago River and the Hogland Wildlife Area. So some pretty good scenery there. Day 5, 53.6 miles, 1,548 feet of climb. This first sector will be leaving Ackley at 15.1 miles. This is almost a 10-mile section, 209 feet of climb with a max grade of 1.3%, so a pretty flat little section there. Sector 7 will start after leaving Parkersburg. This is a 15-mile section, so one of the longest of the week. 589 feet of climb, so more elevation here. Max grade of 2.1%. There is at mile 46.6, the Rock. It is the biggest rock that I have ever seen on the side of the road. That's all graffitied up, so it'd be kind of a cool photo op for you guys. This is the longest day of gravel, and if you're riding this day, you're going to want to stop at Parkersburg and see Shimano. This is how you'll get your patch for the day. So 24.9 miles of total gravel on day 5.
Matt, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Is everybody able to see, or I know a couple of you can't see, or you should be able to see a presentation with maps. If you can raise your hand up. Okay, so Paul, you can see it. You've got thumbs up. Okay. So good. All right. we'll keep going. For those that can't, maybe exit and try to get back in. And like I said, hopefully it'll all show up and we'll have the replay that you can watch. But all right, Matt, back to you.
Perfect. Let's go to day 6. Day 6 will be the shortest day for the week, 38.1 miles, 1,276 feet of climb. This Sector 8 will start out of Dunkerton at 21.6 miles. It's a 14-mile stretch with 472 feet of climb and the max grade of 2%. This route will also take you through Amish communities. So you're going to see horses and buggies through this section. Just know that this is one of those sections that will bypass Fairbank. So if you're needing support there, you're going to need to stay on the route. Otherwise, you're going to basically go around Fairbank and head into Owine. Day 7. Day 7 is probably the day that I'm most looking forward to just because it is truly amazing where we're going. So 66.2 miles of gravel, 2,500 feet of climb. So it's the most elevation for the entire week. Sector 9 starts right out of Edgewood. From Edgewood to the end, you're going to be in a lot of elevation. So if you see the map, there's a lot of ups and downs from the space of this point on. So at 42.3 miles, you're going to have an 8-mile stretch, 161 feet of climb, but you're going to have 652 feet of loss. So you're going to go down more than you're going to go up. Just know you're eventually going to climb out. So max grade of 3.7%. Sector 10 is where you start climbing out. So roughly you're outside of Garber, 53.8 miles. It's a 7-mile stretch, 617 feet of climb. So now you're climbing out of all the downhill you just experienced with a max grade of 9.5%. So this is truly the driftless area. Tons of elevation. There's a lot of really cool things to see. We go through basically an old graveyard of school buses. There's some RAGBRAI school buses parked there on the side, but you're in truly the bluff area of the Guttenberg area. So super excited about this day. Days 1 through 6, if you're newer to gravel, I would recommend doing one of those days, where day 7 is more for the moderate to veterans, where there's a lot of really good downhills and climbs. So you need to have some experience. You truly need a gravel bike on this day, where a hybrid or a road bike with a fatter tire could work. But day 7 is definitely going to be a day where you want to truly ride a gravel bike. So 10 total sectors, anywhere from 3.1 miles to 15 miles totals in stretch. Over 80 miles this year. I believe it's 30 more miles than last year, with a max grade of anywhere from 1.3 to 9.5%. So like I said earlier when we started this, these are all optional. If you do not want to do gravel, you do not have to do gravel, but it is there for you if you want to check it out. Just know you have days 1 through 6 if you're a newbie, and day 7 if you're going to be more of a veteran. So keep that in mind. We're excited about gravel. After our pre-ride in June, we will share all the GPX files out so you'll know exactly what stretches of the road we're going to be on. We're excited. Any questions that you saw come through, Laura?
I don't think we have any yet. Let's see. Yeah, if anybody has a question, drop it in real quick while we have Matt. Any other words of wisdom about the route in general to share?
No, I would just say, though, that just understand that this gravel sections are not supported by our SAG services. So if you're having struggles that day, I would recommend staying off of it. You will have the ability to connect with a lot of the towns. So if you do have an issue on gravel, know that there will be bike shops waiting for you in the next town that is ahead. There will be a motorcycle with care ambulance that kind of hovers back and forth on the route. So if you do, take a spill, they will be there to see you. But these are basically for those riders that understand what gravel is and know how to manage it. They come prepared with extra tubes and the necessary things to make this day positive. If you're gun shy, I would just stay away from it and ride the normal route.
Great. All right. And if anybody has questions, you can find us on Facebook, email, web. We're easy to find if you have something specific that wasn't covered in this info.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're going to pass it on to Erica for some registration updates.
Maybe it'd help if I'd unmute myself. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Just a quick reminder that RAGBRAI registration will close on June 11th. For anybody who hasn't registered yet, so there's still some time. And then registration will be open on the ride, both at Expo Day for all week-long rider, non-rider, and day passes, and then day passes and week-long non-rider every other day during the ride at the merchandise trailers in our overnight communities. Just a reminder that after June 1st, we will offer no refunds. So make sure to go ahead and email us before that June 1st deadline if you need to have a refund for any reason. And reminder that the registration packets will start to mail out after registration closes in June. We anticipate them all being mailed out by the first week in July. So if you've moved in the last couple of months, or if you have any questions about your mailing address, make sure that you double check that in InMotive and reach out to us if you have any issues updating that in InMotive. And then one new change for this year is that we are going completely cashless on the ride. So we will only accept card payments or tap payments. We will not accept any cash payments. So make sure you plan for that. Hopefully you'll come see some of our fun new swag and different merchandise items. We will have top tube stickers with all of the day by day. So you'll want to make sure you get those on Expo Day and have those for the week, but we will accept card payments only. And then wanted to give a quick preview of our logo merchandise. We are running out of sizes in a lot of these, especially that waffle tee. So if you like these, we most likely will not be reordering those for the ride because we'll want to order stuff that has the towns on it. So just kind of the last opportunity to get those before the ride.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. All right, Hayden, you're up.
So before I start, we introduced our full-time team that you guys have seen plenty of us over the last couple months. We wanted to introduce the rest of our team that really makes this ride possible. We have 60 plus crew members that are involved with making this ride everything that you guys know it to be. And we really truly couldn't do it without them. So if any of you are on this call, thank you so much for your support. And as we get into it, John Dale, our strapping man on the left, is our meeting town liaison. So John Dale is a very experienced RAGBRAI rider and crew member. He has been doing this for 20 plus years. You'll find him mostly in the meeting town. He's kind of there to help all things logistics in the meeting town, considering our team is all over the route during the day of the ride. So he's mostly helping with parking, because I know that's always a big struggle in a lot of these towns that we're going to. So if you see John Dale around, he's always willing to help, and will do a great job there. Down to the right is Carol Mollendorf, and Carol is our hospital runner. So hopefully you do not interact with Carol for too long on this ride. But in the case that something goes wrong and you take a spill and get injured, just like the SAG route, you would pull over to the left side of the road, flip your bike upside down, and then Care Ambulance will pick you up and take you to the hospital so that you can get treated. And Carol would be the one to pick you up and bring you back to main campground once you're ready, once you get released. They'll take you back to the info tent where you can pick up your bike with the med bikes and move on and hopefully enjoy the rest of the ride. But Carol's awesome. Anytime you meet her, please say hi. She'll be very excited to meet you and hear your stories. On the top left is Kaz, who you may also recognize from our route announcement. He was very integral in that process, but during the week of the ride, he is our SAG leader. SAG is the support and gear. So as you can see in the background, that's the ride Kaz will be driving all week. He'll actually have a Winnebago van this year, which will be very fun and exciting. And he's in the lead of the SAG 1. He's on mock with Matt and can see all of the SAG locations and is really drawing up the plan. So obviously you can't have all 5 SAGs head out at one time. So Kaz puts that plan together. He's in charge of that group and make sure everybody safely gets to town. As you can see, Kaz's favorite part is when people ride their bikes all the way to town and he gets to drive that SAG trailer empty into the main campground, which is obviously all of our goals. On the bottom right is Erin Oliphant. Erin is a jack of all trades during the week of the ride. Throughout the year, she assists with customer service and is a recent new trainer for RAGBRAI. So check out some of her training blogs on the website. But yeah, during the week of the ride, she's a jack of all trades. You might find her in the campground, around merchandise, information. She really loves to be a part of the ride. She lives in Colorado, so getting to come to Iowa for the ride is an exciting time of year for her. And last but not least, we have our social team. So on the left and right, as you can see, it's the same picture. Brian Powers and Kim Sharp Leba. You'll want to make sure that you find them along the ride. They take a lot of amazing photos for us and videos as well. They're a fun crew and really do a great job. And then in the middle is Kathy Murphy, who many of you are familiar with as a Just Go Bike podcast co-host. And she also assists AP with running our social media. So if you see any of these people along the ride, obviously make sure that you go up, introduce yourself. They love to hear from you. Love to meet all the riders along the ride, both old and new.
Awesome. Thank you, Hayden. Yeah, there's so many hands that make this come to life each year. So definitely when you see our crew out on the ride, say hi. They love being out there and supporting you all and meeting everybody because it's nice to actually see faces to names, whether it's your first time or your 50th time with RAGBRAI. Great. So we've talked a bit here and there about Honor Flight and our partnership with them this year through RAGBRAI Gives. So the RAGBRAI Gives program is part of our community give bag. So each year there's been a way that RAGBRAI has provided a fundraising platform for riders that has gone back to the communities that are hosting RAGBRAI year after year. This year, we've partnered with Honor Flight, which is a national nonprofit organization. They've got 130 independent hubs all across the nation, with 6 of those hubs serving Iowa veterans. And what Honor Flight does, if you're not familiar with it, is it provides free flights to American veterans and takes them to Washington, D.C. for a trip of honor so that they can visit the memorials, and honestly, like just get some of the recognition and respect that they deserve. Excuse me. The program focuses on World War II, World War I, and Korean and moving to Korean and Vietnam War era veterans. And so it's really been an impactful program. A lot of our staff have had some contact with it. Either I know Kathy or Murph has been a guardian, and Matt has left for the day, but he has a connection with it as well. So we've all been learning much more about this program. It's something that we're even more excited to be able to bring awareness to. So the hubs that we are benefiting are the hubs that are serving Iowa veterans. So with that, there are 6 active hubs, and the funds that you have donated during registration or through your rides to benefit Honor Flight will be going to these hubs once registration closes in June. So there are 6 hubs, and we're just going to tell you a little bit about what they're all doing, because they're all doing really amazing things in their communities. So we have, first up, we'll just do a little brief overview. We've got Honor Flight of Dubuque and the Tri-States. So they have flown 18 flights, and that's serving 1,800 veterans out of Iowa. They have a waiting list, and a lot of these hubs have waiting lists. So that where we're able to provide funds is to or be able to provide more of those trips for the veterans on the waiting list. We have Sullivan Hartog Davis, Cedar Valley Honor Flight out of Waterloo, Iowa. So we'll be riding very closely to where they are. And they have flown 30 flights for 2,800 veterans, and they also have a waiting list. They have their next flight scheduled in June 17th. So that'll be right after we go through there for pre-ride. Next, we have Brushy Creek. And they have flown 26 flights for over 3,500 veterans and have a waiting list of about 400. They're not able to be with us tonight, but they have their 27th flight scheduled for May 7th. So that's right around the corner here. And all of these flights are provided for free to the veterans. Midwest, they'll be joining us in Orange City since they are on the western part of the state. So they have taken 23 flights with close to 2,000 veterans. They have 5 flights scheduled this year, and they have a waiting list of around 600 veterans that are waiting to fly. And each day for them cost about, close to $200,000. So that's covering the expenses of the flight for the veterans. That's the flight itself. That's transportation around DC. So these flights are not cheap, but they're obviously very, very important. On our flight of the Quad Cities, serving the Quad Cities area, they were formed in 2008, and they have flown 61 flights to date and have 3 scheduled this year. And one of their veterans shared that the trip managed to replace the sorrows and pains of 50 plus years with new memories of care and honor that we can take to our graves instead. And that's one reason that we're so passionate about supporting this project. And last but definitely not least, we have Eastern Iowa on our flight. And we have Karen Hack with us today to tell us a little more about what they've been doing and what they've got planned coming up this year.
Hi guys, my name is Karen Hackey, and as you can see on the screen, we have flown actually 54 flights. We just completed our 54th flight on Tuesday of this week. Our next flight is May 14th, and then we'll have 2 in the fall. So we will be flying 4 this year, as it states there on the screen. We were established in 2008. We have flown to date, and this does not include the the Tuesday flight, we have flown 4,631 veterans to DC. And we flew 352 last year. We have, it's just like Laura says, it's amazing. I'm the veteran coordinator, and it's amazing to hear the stories, and I love the job that I do. So I don't know, Laura, if you want me to say anything else.
Yeah, I would say, Karen, I'd say any of our riders who may not be in Iowa, how can they find out more about Honor Flight in their state, and how can they get involved or volunteer? I mean, whether it's Iowa or across the nation.
So there is a national hub, a national Honor Flight network. And if you if you just Google National Honor Flight Network, you'll get the information. And then from there, you can drop down and search for your state and your county. So each state or each hub supports so many counties for that hub. So you might be like some of our hubs that we have support into Minnesota as well, just because they're close to the border and stuff like that. So that's how you would find like the Dubuque Honor Flight. I don't know if Dubuque is on, but the Dubuque Honor Flight also does some of the Illinois veterans. So that's how you would find your hub closest to you. Not every state has a hub. So National Honor Flight has what they call the Lone Eagle program, and if your state does not have a hub close to you, then you can get on a special flight that they will help you arrange and still make your trip to DC if you don't have a hub near you. Also, Laura mentioned that we take World War II, Korea, and right now we're working on Vietnam. We also, any veteran that is having advanced medical issues, such as cancer, or cancer is the big one, going blind, those types of things, dementia, we move them up from the wait list. We have over 700 on our wait list, but we will move them up on the wait list. Lone Eagle program that I just mentioned will also take medical veterans as well if the hub that they are close to cannot get them, are not having a flight. So we try to get everybody out there, all the veterans out there, so that they can see those monuments and memorials built in their honor.
Awesome. And Karen, for your hub, I know it varies across the hubs. About how much does it cost to fund each veteran's trip?
Kind of like the Midwest said, it's roughly around 170. We have flight sponsors that will sponsor a flight, and they have to come up with $50,000 to sponsor the flight. Guardians do pay. Right now, our guardian fee to go on a flight is $550. That covers their airplane seat, the food that we provide during the day, which is lunch and dinner, and then the bus, their seat on the bus. So that's how we also get some of the money back that costs. But the big cost is the airplane, the landing, anything that for the airport, type stuff. So.
Yeah. And is there any other way that people can get involved? So, I mean, aside from donating, which we're encouraging, but can someone sign up to be a guardian, or are there other things that they can do that aren't monetary based?
Yes, so we have a website that you can sign up to be a guardian, and if you Google Eastern Iowa Honor Flight, you will find our website. You can sign up to be a guardian or a volunteer. A volunteer does not guarantee you will go on a flight, but what it does do is when we have events, we will reach out to the volunteers to help us with those events. One of the things that we are doing this year, we did it last year, and it was a huge success for us, is the Iowa State Fair. Because, and this is anybody that is on from other states, their state fair is a huge, huge thing. We go for Veterans Day, and so we need volunteers to help us, because last year we only took a few people, and we had over 100 people sign up that day, veterans sign up that day. And then we have people, so we need help. And then there's other opportunities too for volunteers. And then guardians, you can sign up to be a guardian. And if you have a veteran you want to fly with, that would be great if you signed up, both of you guys. And then otherwise, it's we work through our list of guardians. We have probably 300 guardians on our wait list waiting to fly with veterans.
Oh, that's amazing. Wonderful. All right. If anybody has questions, you can drop them in the Q&A, Karen, and we'll just keep you on a little bit longer if somebody has a question that I don't know the answer to. But the way that you all can help, if you haven't already, is we've set the goal of $50,000 because, based on the cost per veteran, that will hopefully be able to provide, around 75 flights or 75 veterans with the opportunity to go to DC. So we're getting there, but there are ways that you can still help. You can donate via the link, and we'll drop it in here via our RAGBRAI Gives page or the Emotive registration page. You can share it with your friends. You can use your ride at RAGBRAI as a way to fundraise. And just help raise awareness about this amazing program that, is available in Iowa and, across the nation. Even if it isn't quite in all 50 states yet, hopefully it will be soon. So we'll put that link there, and appreciate your support of Honor Flight. All right, so we are only 77 days until RAGBRAI 52. We're going to go into some of the questions that were submitted. Thank you, AP. Were submitted ahead of time, and we'll go through those, and then any that pop up in our Q&A. So, all right, we're going to kind of just go by category right now. So, Anne, I think these are both on your plate, or I'll start with one. Is there a daily plan in case of tornadoes, or would say inclement weather, things like that?
There is. So we actually have planning meetings with each of the overnight towns as well as the pass-through towns. We work with emergency management officials by county, and those emergency management officials who do this for a living develop plans for each of the counties, both in town and on the road for each day. So if someone's county includes an overnight town, a pass-through town, or maybe just road, they develop that plan for their entire county. We piece all of those together to have an entire plan for our route that week. We work with public safety, law enforcement, medical, plus our team is working in tandem with all of those people and in communication every day. So rule of thumb really is 2 counties away, we start looking at weather. National Weather Service is going to be included or en route with us every day in mobile command centers in our overnight towns, monitoring weather for us. And once we hit that 2 county over, we start implementing our plan. It requires Matt on route every day, kind of in communication with me, sitting in the command centers in the overnight towns, building out those plans and actually executing against communicating and getting you guys informed as you're en route. We also recommend that you download an app called Smart 911. It is geo-targeted. It also has the ability to move through satellite so that if there is weather in the area and it can GPS locate you, it will push notifications to you letting you know that there is weather coming. So you will definitely hear from us if that's happening. You'll hear from us through text, through email. We also, encourage you when the routes are released through Ride with GPS, GPX files to download those because we can communicate to you through that app as well. So the more that you're connected to us, the better that is. But we also have boots on ground that will be helping communicate those plans. But those emergency management plans also include all of the shelter locations throughout the state on route and in towns that day that are available to riders should there be inclement weather.
Fantastic. Charters. How quickly will the charter services start filling up?
So is that for me?
I guess so. Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Still with you. Or anybody who wants it.
Kate can answer it too, but they are already starting to fill up depending on what their services are. So some offer varying levels of service, tent service, all the way up to hotel service. So depending on what you're interested in, I would go to ragbrai.com/charters, peruse the list of charters that are available and reach out to them as soon as possible. They are finalizing locations right now with Hayden in all of our overnight towns. So they're making their plans and they a lot of times coincide from a closing perspective with our registration. So now would be the time to figure out where you're going to go and how you're going to stay along the route.
All right, and one more for Anne. Can you walk us through SAG? So what happens if a rider cannot complete the daily course for some reason?
Yep, so we have 4 SAGs that are en route. They will provide help for anyone who has a mechanical or a medical that's non-urgent. So if you're on the road, you'll want to go to the left-hand side of the road and turn your bicycle upside down, and that'll signal to our SAGs that you are in need of their assistance, and they'll come over and pick you up. Each of our towns will have a designated SAG pickup location that will be marked on that Ride with GPS file that I just referenced. So really important that you download those files because it has a lot of information, not just turn by turns for the route, but it has information on certain things are going to be located that day. Pickup locations in each of our pass-through towns, in our meeting town, and then drop-off location in the main campground in all of our overnight communities. So you can get picked up on the side of the road with assistance with the turn of your bike on the left-hand side, or you can get picked up in any of our towns. To note that this isn't a taxi service, so it really is a mechanical or non-urgent medical. You can't move forward. they will, once you're in that vehicle, you are going and moving all the way into our overnight town. There isn't a drop off in the nearest town for you to get back on your bike and go. Once you're in that van, your final destination will be that main campground of our overnight town. So it could take a while, depending on where you're at en route that day, to get you all the way into the overnight town. Just something to plan for as you're getting in that vehicle. We will have 2 people per SAG. So and then they are 15 passenger vans. So a lot of company while you're riding into that overnight town, but certainly a lot of availability. We also ask that you either go to the designated location in your pass-through town, wait on that side of the road. Sometimes there is a wait. We do stagger our SAGs throughout the day to try to get to you as soon as possible. But you might have to wait for a SAG. We do ask that you don't call 911 since unless it's an emergency. So we do have, I think Hayden showed you Cause. Cause is our lead SAG. He will have the ability to connect with all of his SAGs via radio, as well as see where his SAGs are located en route each day through our mock system. So hopefully those wait times are a little bit quicker than they have been in the past as we continue to refine, making sure we get to you as quickly as possible.
Thank you. All right, Hayden. Couple camping RV questions for you. First of all, we'll kind of talk about the start and the end of the ride. So are there camping options on Friday the 18th, so before the ride, in either start or end town?
Yes, there will be camping options in both Guttenberg and Orange City on that Friday. There'll most likely be the main campground area that's designated that you'll be staying in. We don't anticipate a whole lot of campers on either of those days, so they should have plenty of space for you, whether you're going to Guttenberg and getting transported to Orange City, or vice versa and starting in Orange City. You'll be able to camp on that Friday. The spaces will be available and hopefully isn't too busy for you, but just make sure you plan accordingly and iron out all your details before you go.
Awesome. And if someone is bringing an RV, how will they know where to park camp each night?
So first and foremost, make sure that you do buy your vehicle pass if you are bringing that RV, because that is how we designate which vehicles will be allowed to park in those designated RAGBRAI spots. So if you haven't bought your RV pass already, make sure that you do so. And then as you come into that town, we've been discussing with each of our town to have a designated vehicle stop standpoint. So as you come in off that support route, you can pull in. They'll be able to have a map, show you that you have an RV pass. If you're with a team or a charter, or you're trying to get to a specific area, you can let them know that then, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction. Or if you're just trying to get to the main campground or as close as you can, they'll be able to point out some of those designated RV camping options that are around town and give you the quickest route to get there. Again, they will only allow you to park in those areas if you have that pass. So if you pull up in an RV and you do not have a vehicle pass, you'll have to find somewhere outside of those designated areas.
All right. And if you have an RV, but say they've got more people than can fit in their RV, can they set up tents around their RV parking spot?
You can set up tents around your RV parking spot. Just make sure that you're wary of those around you. Obviously, in some of those towns, it might be a very tight fit, so don't take up more of a footprint than you need to. Don't set up 6 tents right next to your RV where another RV could park. Just make sure you're being a good rider, cognizant of your neighbors. And another note with RV, I know Corey's brought it up in the past, but some of those generators can get really loud. So if you do have tents around you, if you don't have to run that generator all night, or can have it in an area that's not right next to the tents, those tent campers will definitely appreciate it.
Good point. Erica, question for you. Can riders start to check in on Friday night, or what Saturday only, and kind of what's a rundown of check-in if they need to get their packets?
Yeah, so we don't officially have a check-in for everybody. We will start mailing out registration packets, and that's kind of what you need to do to show that you've registered for the ride, is wear that wristband. So put a wristband on you and then your bike band on your bike. If you are an international rider or somebody who has selected packet pickup, that will be available only it'll be available starting Saturday at the expo in Orange City. I believe that'll be in City Hall, and that's going to be from 12 o'clock to 9 on Saturday. Every other other day throughout the week, we will have left anything that's not claimed will move with us throughout the ride, and we'll have that in the overnight town. So that'll go from town to town, and we'll send out all of those details once registration is closed and kind of a wrap up email on what dates and where you can expect to find those merchandise locations, because it'll be where our merchandise trailer is. If you guys have ever been on the ride before, that's that big blue trailer that we sell t-shirts and stuff in. It'll also have registration packets that maybe you weren't able to pick up before. That's going to be the same area. Let's say hopefully nobody receives a damaged wristband, or they, we've had in the past, they put their bike band on them and their wristband on the bike. You can also switch those out at packet pickup on Expo Day or the trailers throughout the rest of the week.
Awesome. And yeah, we'll have that information going out to you. And then the information will also be in the participant guide with a whole lot of other good stuff for everybody that'll come out a little closer to the ride. All right, we've got 2 more questions. So let's see. We'll see who wants this one. With limited cell service, what's the best way to find our support folks in the meetup towns?
I would jump in and just say, make sure that you plan ahead. If you're going to be meeting up with somebody in your meeting town or only the meeting town or the overnight town, pick out a spot, scout that town beforehand, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's the corner of a street or an address. Just make sure that you have that pre-designated spot beforehand when the cell service or internet service might not be as dependable as you hope it is. So that way you at least both know where you're headed and where you're supposed to go.
Perfect. Yep. Have a backup plan. And sometimes text may be delayed, but text may work better than a phone call. And doing individual text versus group text may help get your message out to everybody. All right, AP, since you have ridden the most RAGBRAIs out of this group, do people typically clean their gear throughout the week, or do they bring fresh kits for every day of riding? And what are your tips for gear on the ride?
Well, I'll say you'll see it all on RAGBRAI. Some people will wear the same kit every single day during RAGBRAI without washing it, and that is disgusting. Not that I'm judging people, but you start to have an odor. They'll stand up on their own if you wait too many days. So people will sometimes bring 7 days of kits. If you have 7 kits available, that is certainly an option. If you do that, I would recommend placing them in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and even labeling it on the outside with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, kind of like how when you're a kid, your underwear was labeled maybe. But that is one great way to do it. If you don't have 7 kits, I would recommend bringing what you have, and I would still keep them in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, both because it rains on RAGBRAI sometimes and your gear might get wet, but also it's a really great way to wash your clothing midweek if you'd like to. If you want to do that, I would recommend they make little travel-size packets of laundry detergent. I know Tide has one. I know there's all sorts of other ones that you could avail yourself of. And then you dump that little laundry detergent straight in that gallon-sized bag and just mush it up and rinse it a couple times and hang it out to dry. That's my favorite way to clean kits through the week. Just a word to the wise, though. It's so humid during RAGBRAI, it will take probably 2 days for it to dry completely. So if you know that you're going to be low on kits, make sure you wash your day 1 kit on day 1. So that it has time to dry properly, because nobody likes riding with wet shorts. Some people do also do things like go to a laundromat in towns, but not every community will have a laundromat. So I'd urge you to research that. It may also be busy, so it's sometimes not the option that people think it might be. Other people will shower directly in their kits, so you can kind of soap up your kit while you're cleaning yourself. That's certainly a valid option too. You're kind of roughing it on RAGBRAI, so I know I made fun of people for not washing their kits every day, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, and you know what, everyone else is going to kind of smell like they've been riding across the state too, so you don't worry about it too much. Just again, try to make a plan ahead of time if you can, and do whatever you need to do. You'll certainly see a lot of people with laundry hanging up next to their tent in the campground.
Great, thank you. And I lied. There's one more question. I think Erica briefly touched on this in the chat, but if you didn't see it, a question about cash versus card. Do most vendors accept credit cards? This writer would like to avoid carrying a lot of cash. So Erica, you want to take that one?
I think yes and no. A lot of vendors will take both. You're going to have some vendors that will take cash only, so keep an eye on that. I'd say to bring with you cash to start out the week, especially if you know you want to shop on Expo Day in Orange City. And a lot of communities will be staffed and have ATMs. That's something we recommended them. So if you know you could bring a couple of days of cash or just even one to start out and then stop at an ATM, just kind of keep an eye on that and monitor what you feel comfortable with, because you don't want to bring cash for the entire week and travel with that. Vendors will have signage that says cash or card. Some people offer discounts if it is cash. Just in past and seeing what food vendors offer that. So keep an eye out, limit your cash and only use that for places that take cash, and then just try and use your card as much as possible.
Right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for our May town hall. We'll work on getting this recording up. So if you missed part of the presentation or want to share it with someone, you'll be able to forward it onto them. Our next town hall is going to be June 12th. And that's going to be right after pre-ride. So in that town hall, we'll be talking about everything we learned on pre-ride, any route details, and then last minute information, tips, and tricks so that you can be your best prepared self for RAGBRAI. I want to thank Karen for joining us from Eastern Iowa. Yeah, remind you all that, yeah, we appreciate everything that everybody with Honor Flight Hubs are doing to provide those trips. We look forward to telling more of your story. And then, yeah, encourage you all on your own to learn more about Honor Flight and hubs in your local area. All right, we'll see you on June 12th. Thanks.
Thank you.